The best way to start learning piano and violin. Of all the music instruments, piano is the king and violin is the queen. The piano holds a central place in the work of many composers and performers. For composers, the keyboard's range provides an expansive palette with which to create. It's also well suited for students to learn music performance as well as music theory. The violin is famous for its versatility, expressive power, and its central role in Western classical music. The violin is capable of producing a wide range of sounds and emotions, from soft and delicate passages to powerful and dramatic solos. Piano is easier to start but could be expensive. It's also difficult to become a master player. But with RCM level 8, you can play many masterpieces at ease. Violin is more difficult to learn initially, but is much cheaper than piano. Once you know how to play the violin, there are not many skills that you need to master like the piano. Here are some good tips to help you start playing the piano. Mastering the piano takes even talented musicians many years of study, but you can learn the basics of playing this instrument in a relatively short period of time. Once you have these under your belt, you'll have to practice for these habits and techniques for them to become second nature. With a little time and effort, before you know it, you'll be playing with proper posture, hand position, and you'll be reading music, too. Understanding the keyboard and finger position. Learn the keys on the keyboard. The 52 white keys on a piano keyboard are called according to the name of each key's associated note. Notes range from A to G ascendingly, so letters increase moving to the right on the keyboard and decrease moving to the left. Make sense of finger numbers. In many songs, you'll find small numbers above or below notes. These numbers indicate the recommended finger you should use to play the note. Very basic songs many have finger notation for each note, while more complex songs may have little finger notation. Each number represents a single finger. 1 represents your thumb, 2 represents your index or pointer finger, 3 represents your middle finger, 4 represents your ring finger, 5 represents your pinky. Practice finger notation so it is automatic. When first beginning, you may find it a little difficult to play a finger when you read its number. This is common, but by learning finger notation thoroughly, so it is automatic, you'll find playing easier. Position your fingers and hands with proper technique. Keep your fingers slightly curved but firm so that when you press a key your finger does not bend backward at all. Your thumb and pinky fingers especially will want to lie flat, but keep these raised as well. Reading music and making music on a keyboard. Acquire appropriate music. If you are a true beginner, a beginning level practice book, lesson book series, or primer can provide you with simple songs that help you practice piano basics. These books often include liberal finger notation, which will help you master proper finger position. Look through the music and highlight important features. When first learning a song, accidentals, like sharps, flats, and naturals, can take you by surprise. Highlight each of these in a different color so you don't miss them. Play new music one hand at a time. First, divide the music into manageable sections. This will be different for each person, though you might want to consider tackling your song one measure at a time or in musical phrases, which are 2-4 bars long. Identify and isolate difficult runs and intervals. After your one-handed playthrough, you may have noticed certain parts of the song give you more difficulty than others. For example, there may be a large interval, like an 8-note jump, or a run of fast notes, like 10 eighth notes in a row, and so on. Isolate and practice these until you can play smoothly and without hesitation. Put both hands together. Much as you did when starting one hand at a time, start putting your left and right hands together slowly. Make it a goal to play left and right hand notes that fall on the beat together. Learn new songs and practice regularly. Learning new songs will challenge your ability to read music, which will help improve your sight reading ability. Beyond that, the more often you play, the more familiar the keyboard will be beneath your fingers, which will lead to better playing. Playing with proper posture. Adjust the piano bench to suit your height. Your piano bench should be positioned so that when sitting on the front half of it, your elbows are a little in front of your body. Your arms should be level with or slightly sloping down toward the keys. Your feet should be flat on the floor. Sit up straight when playing. Sit tall and with a slight inward lean to the piano when playing. This might seem unimportant, but your posture at the keyboard can greatly affect the sound you produce. A straight spine will allow you greater stability and poise. It also will enable you to more easily involve your upper body weight when playing, which will help you create a more dynamic sound. Check your posture regularly. it can be difficult to notice poor posture in yourself. If you are teaching yourself piano, you might want to ask a friend or family member to check your posture from time to time. Make sure you let them know what to look for when it comes to proper piano posture. Here are some good tips to help you start playing the violin. The violin is one of the most rewarding and beautiful instruments to play. The road to learning the violin is a long one, but with patience, discipline, and enthusiasm, these steps will help you start down the road to success with this storied instrument. Gathering equipment. Buy or rent a violin. If you're just starting out with the instrument, there's no need to spend an excessive amount of money on a violin, but like most instruments, the quality of the violin generally rises as the price goes up. Expect to spend a few $100s on a decent beginner's violin. Check the accessories. Unless you have purchased the instrument only, your violin outfit should come with a violin with 4 strings, a bow, and a carrying case, and most of the time a chin rest and rosin for your bow. In most cases, the person who sells you the violin will be happy to string it for you, which has the added bonus of double-checking to be sure the tuning pegs are properly fit to the scroll. A hard case is important because violins are such delicate instruments. Purchase other items. Nearly all violinists use a chin rest, which is a cheap, ergonomic piece of plastic that clamps near the base of the violin and allows it to be held securely by your chin. This is usually attached to the violin when the violin is built. Aside from that, be sure you have some rosin for your bow, a music stand, and a book of beginner lessons or songs, preferably in a format that will open flat. Learning the basic technique. Tighten the bow. Once you've set up your music stand and sheet music, open the case and remove the bow. The hair of the bow should be limp. Tighten the bow hair by turning the end screw clockwise until the space between the hair and the stick is big enough to pass a pencil through cleanly from tip to tip. Rosin the bow. Rosin comes in 2 types, dark and light. Either is fine to use, and neither is expensive. In warmer climates, light is preferred, dark is recommended in more northern areas. If you live in an unpredictable climate, it is advisable to have both. It's usually a rectangle of hard, translucent material in a paper or cardboard casing that's open on 2 sides. Grip the rosin by the papered sides and gently but vigorously rub it up and down along the length of the bow hair 3 or 4 times. The goal is to transfer some of the rosin, dust, onto the hair, making it stickier. You will need to rosin your bow about every time you practice. Tune the violin. Set the bow aside for a moment and take the violin out of the case. The strings, in order from lowest tone to highest, should be tuned to G, D, A, and E. You can usually purchase an electric tuner from $15 to $20 depending on the quality and brand. Major adjustments can be made with the tuning pegs in the scroll of the violin, but if the tone seems only a little bit off, use the tiny metal dials near the bottom, called fine tuners, to make your adjustments instead. Once you're satisfied, return the violin to the open case for a moment. You probably would like to have a professional tune your violin first. Grip the bow. Use the balance point to learn to hold the bow and even out the weight. When you think you are ready to grip the bow like a professional, start by gently laying the middle part of your index finger on the grip. Place the tip of your pinky on the flat part of the stick near the base, keeping it slightly curved. The ring and middle fingers should rest with their middle parts in line with the tip of your pinky, and their tips on the side of the frog. Your thumb should rest underneath the stick, at the front of the frog, near or on the bow hair. Hold the violin. Stand or sit with a straight back. Pick it up by its neck with your left hand and bring the butt of the instrument up to your neck. Rest the lower back of the violin on your collarbone and hold it in place with your jaw. To learn notes, however, you should hold it guitar style and buy a music book. It helps a whole lot. Perfect your hand position. Place your hand under the top part of the neck and support the violin so that the scroll is pointing out away from you. Hold it steady by resting the side of your thumb on the neck, and allow your 4 fingers to arch over the fingerboard, which is the black plate covering the front of the neck. Play the strings. Place the flat side of the bow hair approximately halfway between the bridge, the flimsy-looking wooden stand 3/4 of the way down the strings that keeps them tented, and the fingerboard, so that it's directly over the belly of the violin. Pull the bow along the string as straight as you can, parallel to the bridge, applying a small amount of pressure. A sound should emanate from the violin. Also, tilt the bow hair towards bridge at a 45-degree angle. Practice playing open strings, G, D, A, and E, in order from top to bottom string. Open strings are simply strings played without fingertips on them. Rest the neck of the violin in the space between the left thumb and first finger. Hold the bow with your wrist, elbow, shoulder, and contact point on the string within one plane. Change strings by raising or lowering the elbow to bring the bow to the proper height. Try short strokes of 6 inches or so in the middle of the bow at first, then try half strokes from the frog to the middle and back again. Work your way up to full-length strokes. Practice playing other notes. It takes a lot of practice to master the pressure and positioning required to get your fingers to produce clear notes on the fingerboard. Start with your strongest finger, the pointer finger. Using the tip only, press down firmly on the highest string, the E string. You don't need to use as much pressure as you do with guitar strings. A modest but firm amount is enough. Draw the bow across the E string to produce a slightly higher note. If you are holding the violin properly, your finger should naturally come down about half an inch below the nut, the top of the fingerboard, producing an F note. Practice scales. A scale is a series of notes that ascend and descend in a pattern of steps that starts at one note and ends at a higher or lower version of the same note. An easy scale for beginners is the D major scale, which starts on the open D string. From there, place your fingers down in order and play each note. D, E, F sharp, G to complete the scale. Play the next highest open string, A, and then repeat the pattern on the A string to play B, C sharp, and finally D with your third finger. Practice every day. Start with a short time and work a little longer every day until you reach an hour, or you can't find any more time to play. Serious violinists often practice for 3 or more hours per day. Then again, many violinists at that level get money for playing. Practice as much as you reasonably can, and keep at it. Even sounding good enough to play a few simple songs can take months, but eventually, things will begin to come together. Start learning the piano or violin and start playing now. Thanks for watching.